What a nice evening it is tonight at the season finale of the Speed Racing League, which is the title decider of this season. We're already on our outlap as we'll have a quick look at the standings. And what a season it has been. We're 24.5 points ahead of our biggest rival Tyrone and 32.5 points ahead of Theo, who can still take the championship as well, as this round is a triple points round. As we now go round the final corner and start our first lap. Now, I want to play it safe here to ensure we don't invalidate, so we're looking for something around a 22.4. Going into the first turn, now, this was quite good. A little bit careful on the exit, but well enough for our banker lap. Heading to the tricky hairpin, braking right at the 50-metre board as we completely miss the apex, which means that we have to nail the rest of this lap. Going down the straight as we're now heading into the chicane, hit the apex nicely there and we get a great exit, which is so important here. Upcoming now, the final sector of this track, which is so hard to get right, but if we do, we'll gain a lot of time here. And this was neat, now cutting all of the track on the inside and trying not to lock up as we head into this tricky right-hander. Trying to get the traction down as we get a small snap of oversteer, which has cost us a little bit of lap time as well. Coming round the final corner, and it is a 1 minute 22.4. However, in my toilet break, Tyrone improved his lap and went 0.2 faster than us, putting him on provisional pole. Heading on to our last lap of this qualifying, and we have to improve by 0.2 to get this pole position tonight. Going into turn 1, and that was a bad exit. We're already down more than half a tenth as we go through the fast S's. However, we know there's much lap time in this tricky hairpin. We go a tiny bit wide again, but still get a good exit, gaining us almost a whole tenth as we head down this super long straight. Burning down the battery to 35% as we head into the chicane. We miss the apex again, but still get the good exit we needed. As we go into this final sector, we have to nail it. We need 0.3 to get the pole here. Braking a bit early to maximise our exit, it works just great as we're up 300 going into the tricky part of this track. Braking for this right-hander, just perfect. As we now need to get the traction down in this left-hander, which we do perfectly. And we are up those 0.2 that we needed. We just need to bring it round the final corner now as we start braking, hit the apex nicely, and it is a 121.20, which gets us the pole position. And it's lights out and away we go for the final time of this season as we get a decent start maintaining our lead. Everybody gets throw safely there, which is quite a miracle as we now head down towards turn 5. Our goal here is to stay ahead of Tyrone and Theo, our championship contenders, as we go through turn 5 with a gap already. Heading down the straight, using our battery to maintain the lead, trying to break the slipstream to the cars behind us. And Tyrone has already lost a position, which is great for us. Heading down into the chicane for the first time in this race now, as we hear some argy-bargy behind us. And oh no! As you can see, that was Tyrone, our championship contender, locking his rears and spinning. And that brings out the virtual safety car. As we now need to be careful to not exceed the delta so we don't get drive-through. Harrison behind us is pretty close now, but as I said before, the win is not our goal today, which is why we only need to care about Tyrone and Theo. Harrison now, coming with the DRS, is not defendable as he passes us on this straight.
However, we might get a chance to pass him back on the following one if we close the gap into the chicane. We need a good exit now if we want to get the position back, and we do get a good exit as we tuck in behind the Ferrari trying to close the gap. Harrison now goes defensive, which means we have to try and get around the outside. But Harrison goes deep as we can try and get a beautiful switchback on him, but he has the inside line for this next right-hander and therefore can stay ahead and keep the position. As we're really close to him now and even almost go into his back, we're going to get past on this straight with the help of DRS. However, Visser is close already and will close the gap to the both of us on this straight too, so we might get a problem on the next one. Going wheel to wheel into the chicane as both Harrison and Visser are right behind us and will both get past us with the help of DRS on this straight. Or are they? We use our battery to cover off Visser as we head into the quick left-hander behind Harrison. Next lap, same story. We're right behind Harrison again and we'll get past on this first straight with the help of DRS again. We go deep into the chicane and there's contact at the exit. We get a bad exit and there's nothing we can do, so we have to let both of them go as we head into Sector 3 once again. As Harrison goes deep, we also get a wide exit and end up on the curb, which skyrockets us into random directions, but what a save it is as we manage to keep it on track. However, that allows Theo to close the gap to us. Next lap, and once again the pack of us is close in a DRS battle as we speed down the straight and close the gap to Harrison and Visser. We slot in behind them for the chicane and try to get a good exit to overtake. Harrison, though, with the help of DRS, pulls away from us and no goes for a move on Visser as he gets pushed off and we get a run on him. But he manages to keep the position once again. We're a bit further behind on this lap, but brake too late as Visser lags around and we go into the back of him getting front wing damage, and we definitely need to repair it, which is why we'll box immediately. Going on to the hard compound tyres now as we leave the box and can finally push again. We've caught up to another car which is a bit slower than us, and we now have to try and get the move done. However, we sit behind him on this straight as we want to get past on the second one. Now, trying to get a good exit, which we do, but the McLaren, despite us having DRS, is just as quick on the straight. And we need to try and get around the outside here. We're looking for the grip and try to leave as much space on the inside as we can to not get tapped and get the move done.
We're close up behind Visser, and we both know that we can work together now and catch up to Harrison again.
At the end of this lap though, we will come in for our second and last pit stop to undercut Harrison, but he covers it off by pitting at the same lap. On to fresh hards again, as we now have to be careful and see where Theo and Tyrone are. However, we get unlucky as a few seconds later the virtual safety car comes out again, destroying our strategy and putting Visser into the lead before Harrison and us, while Tejo has had a chance to catch up. After catching up again, we see Harrison and Visser fighting it out. While Harrison goes defensive, Visser still finds a gap on the inside, but they put each other into the wall as Harrison goes straight on. He comes back on track and goes full-on Ronha mode as he takes out Visser, giving us the lead again.
Virtual safety car is out. Reduce speed and maintain a positive delta on your dash. Okay, slowly this lap. We'll be pacing the field in sector 3. Make sure to respect the delta until the safety car's in.
Now we have the disadvantage on the restart, and Theo behind us can still take the championship from us. And now guys, enjoy the final laps of this championship.